A system under scrutiny. Is the U.S. election system truly fair? The United States, land of the free, home of the brave, and birthplace of a surprisingly fragile democracy? It's a question that surfaces every election cycle. Can we trust the system to accurately reflect the will of the people? The answer, unfortunately, isn't a simple yes or no. Our history is littered with examples of both triumphs and failures when it comes to safeguarding the vote. From the earliest days of the Republic, the right to vote has been fiercely contested. We've witnessed poll taxes, literacy tests, and outright intimidation tactics, all designed to disenfranchise specific groups. These injustices cast a long shadow, reminding us that the fight for a truly representative democracy is ongoing. The 2000 presidential election threw the spotlight on another vulnerability: the potential for human error and flawed technology to impact outcomes. The infamous hanging Chad controversy left the nation on tenterhooks, highlighting the fragility of a system where every vote truly counts. And then there's the aftermath of the 2020 election, where accusations of fraud and irregularities fueled unprecedented unrest. The storming of the Capitol building on January 6, 2021, was a stark reminder of the fragility of democratic norms and the dangers of misinformation. The long shadow of voter suppression. For generations, the right to vote in America was a privilege enjoyed by a select few. Black Americans in particular faced a gauntlet of discriminatory practices designed to keep them away from the ballot box. Poll taxes, requiring citizens to pay a fee to vote, disproportionately impacted Black Americans struggling to overcome systemic economic disadvantages. Literacy tests, often administered arbitrarily and unfairly, were another tool used to disenfranchise Black voters. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 marked a turning point, outlawing many of these discriminatory practices. However, the fight for equal access to the ballot box is far from over. Recent years have seen a surge in voter ID laws, which critics argue disproportionately disenfranchise minority and low-income voters. The purging of voter rolls, often based on outdated or inaccurate information, also raises concerns about voter suppression. The legacy of voter suppression continues to cast a long shadow over American democracy. It serves as a stark reminder that the fight for equal access to the ballot box is an ongoing struggle, one that demands constant vigilance and a commitment to protecting the sacred right to vote. When votes dangle, the hanging Chad controversy, the year 2000. The world watched in disbelief as the fate of the U.S. presidency hinged on a few tiny pieces of paper in Florida. The culprit? Hanging Chads, those infamous partially detached pieces of paper from punch card ballots that became synonymous with electoral chaos. The problem stemmed from the design of the ballots and the machines used to count them. In some cases, the punch mechanism failed to fully detach the Chad, leaving it hanging by a thread. These ambiguous votes sparked a fierce legal battle between George W. Bush and Al Gore, ultimately culminating in a Supreme Court decision that halted the recount and effectively handed the presidency to Bush. The hanging Chad controversy exposed the vulnerabilities of outdated voting technology and the potential for human error to influence election outcomes. The fallout from the 2000 election led to calls for electoral reform and investment in more reliable voting systems. It served as a wake-up call, highlighting the need for clear, consistent standards for ballot design, voter education, and vote counting procedures. Section 4. The storm after the calm unrest in the wake of Biden's victory. The 2020 presidential election was arguably one of the most contentious in recent history. The COVID-19 pandemic upended traditional voting practices, leading to a surge in mail-in ballots and fueling unfounded claims of widespread voter fraud. When Joe Biden emerged victorious, a significant portion of the population, particularly supporters of Donald Trump, refused to accept the results. The situation reached a boiling point on January 6, 2021, when a mob of Trump supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol building in an attempt to prevent the certification of Biden's victory. The images of that day, etched into our collective memory, served as a stark reminder of the fragility of democratic institutions and the dangers of misinformation. The events of January 6th exposed deep divisions within American society and highlighted the corrosive effects of political polarization and the spread of misinformation. It underscored the importance of civic education, media literacy, and a shared commitment to democratic norms and the peaceful transfer of power. Section 5. Safeguarding the vote, measures to ensure election integrity. In the wake of these controversies and challenges, there have been ongoing efforts to strengthen the integrity of U.S. elections. One focus has been on modernizing voting systems. Many jurisdictions have transitioned from outdated punch card and lever machines to electronic voting systems, which offer greater accuracy and accessibility. However, concerns remain about the security and verifiability of these systems, particularly in the face of potential cyber attacks. Another area of focus is ensuring voter access while maintaining the integrity of the voter rolls. This involves striking a balance between making it easy for eligible citizens to register and vote while preventing fraudulent activities. States have implemented various measures such as automatic voter registration, same-day voter registration, and online voter registration to make the process more accessible. Efforts to combat misinformation and disinformation campaigns, particularly those spread through social media, are also crucial. This includes promoting media literacy, fact-checking initiatives, and holding platforms accountable for amplifying false or misleading information. Section 6. A question of faith. Can we trust the system? So can the U.S. election system be cheated? It's a question that continues to spark debate and fuel anxieties. While no system is foolproof, the U.S. has made strides in addressing vulnerabilities and strengthening electoral integrity. However, vigilance is key. Protecting the right to vote requires ongoing efforts to combat voter suppression, ensure accurate vote counting, and counter misinformation. Ultimately, trust in the system hinges on transparency, accountability, and a shared commitment to democratic principles. It demands that we remain informed, engaged, and vigilant in safeguarding the sacred right to vote, for it is the cornerstone of a functioning democracy.